Make sure you check down in the description below so you can find out how to purchase a SmallTown Collectibles comic book mystery box and how to get a 10% off discount code over at Street Level Hero LA, where you'll get 10% off your order and raise some money for a great cause. It is another beautiful day here in the hills of Eastern Kentucky, and today we're going to talk about comic books on a budget. If you had a budget of $25, what books should you purchase? Find out next. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr, and this is the SmallTown Collectibles YouTube channel. So before we get into talking about the comic books on a budget this week, if you're not subbed up already, do that now. Hit that subscription button, turn on that notification bell so that you get notified when I put out new content. Hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. That really helps that YouTube algorithm. And leave a comment below and let me know what books you might replace on my list that you're looking at this week. Always kind of interested in that feedback, so definitely let me know what you're looking at. All right, now, with that out of the way, let's jump into the list. All right, so just to kind of set the table, if you haven't seen it before, I have a budget of $25, and I use the retail price, and I go to Midtown Comics and pull the prices from there because it's just easy to go there. Plus, we talk about at the end, if your LCS gives a discount, maybe a couple of extra books that you might be able to pick up. This is more not my personal preference per se. It's more along the lines of what I think could have value down the road. Okay, so let's jump into this thing and let's start with the first book on my list this week. And that is The Death of Doctor Strange, number 2. Retail price on that is $3.99. You get the first appearance of the three mothers, and the synopsis reads, "Rest in peace, Stephen Strange. With the Sorcerer Supreme gone, so too are the Earth's magical defenses. Now the rest of Earth's heroes have their hands full with multiple invasions from other dimensions, some familiar, some not, and they're frightening. Meet the three mothers." Okay, so the reason I'm looking at this book, I spec on pretty much anything or any new first appearances in the Marvel Universe. We know that this next set of movies that's coming out is going to deal with the multiverse. Doctor Strange is going to play a big role in that. So any first appearances from really any characters, that's a book I'm going to pick up. So that is the reason for this one. You know, it's a $3.99 retail price. We start out with our $25. You take that away, we've got $21.01 left to spend. The next book is from DC Black Label, and this is Refrigerator Full of Heads, number 1. Retail price is $3.99. Now this book is from Hill House Comics. And the synopsis reads, "Off the coast of Brody Island, the mysterious axe that unleashed pandemonium during the hurricane of '83 has waited at the bottom of the bay, but nothing that powerful stays buried." So I have really enjoyed these books, the Hill House comic books that have come out on the Black Label. And it is rumored that these books at some point will be on HBO Max. They're doing all the DC titles now. So I've heard from a horror standpoint that these are the books that are going to be there. And I think you had Basket Full of Heads was one of the other. So this is Refrigerator Full of Heads. They were all good reads in my opinion. I've really enjoyed what DC has done on the horror genre. And I'm sure this one's going to be the same. So I think this one will be a good read, but I think there could be some long-term spec value for it as well. We spend our $3.99 on this book. We've got $17.02 left to spend. And for our next pick, we're going to jump over to a popular title, and that will be Gunslinger Spawn number 1 with a retail price of $5.99. Now, this is the premiere issue of the second Spawn universe title featuring the Gunslinger. This book contains 3 separate Gunslinger stories, each taking a look at his journey through time from the Wild Wild West to the 21st century. Will his 200-year-old past come back to haunt him as he navigates the strange world of 2021? Get ready for the past and the present to collide in this new ongoing title. So, McFarlane promised that this was going to be the year of the Spawn. He's building this Spawn universe. And of course, as I said earlier, this is the second title. and kind of building that. And Gunslinger is one of the most popular characters from the Spawn mythos. So yeah, I think this, as you know, as the Spawn universe grows, as it maybe turns into TV shows and movies and things like that, the first issue of this ongoing title for Gunslinger could definitely be a good book to have. All right, so we spend our $5.99 on this book, and that leaves us $11.03 to spend. What do we do next? And for me, it would be Gun Honey #1, the second print. Retail price on this is $3.99. Now, if you're lucky enough to be able to pick this up at your LCS, then you can get it for $3.99. But this is a second print, and it is only limited to 2,000 copies, so it may be difficult to find. But the first book was good. Again, it was kind of one of those, I liked the premise of the book. I think it sounds cool, it's sexy. Men are definitely going to dig this title. And it's another book that you could see down the road, maybe ending up as a TV show, a movie, something along that line. And I think it's a good book to have. And the fact that it has this limited print run, I think is the primary reason to try to grab this second print. All right, so that book was $3.99 retail. We spend that money, $7.04 left to spend. Probably got room for one more book here, and that book will be from DC, and that is Nubia and the Amazons #1. Now, in this, you get the first appearance of the new Amazons and the first appearance of Andromeda. The synopsis on this one is: after the thrilling events of Infinite Frontier, Nubia becomes the queen of Thessamacry. But the new title also brings challenges. With the unexpected arrival of new Amazons, our hero is forced to reckon with her past and forge a new path forward for her sisters. Little does she know, a great evil grows beneath the island, and it's up to its former guardian of Doom's doorway to unite her tribe before paradise is lost forever. So, I'm interested in reading this book, but the primary reason for it being on this list is this is perfect for an HBO show. Perfect. And I think that you'll probably see that down the road at some point as they're building out different things on HBO Max. I could see an Amazonian story, not specifically Wonder Woman, because she's the A-lister, but you're going to see someone like Nubia end up on HBO. And this is a book I'm probably going to grab multiple copies for myself. But if you're on a budget, definitely grab one copy. This is going to be a long-term hold to see if anything comes out of it. To be honest with you, all these books are long-term holds. Now, the Gun Honey, if you're lucky enough to get a hold of that second print, you might be able to sell it on the secondary market and make some money right now. But most of these books are going to be long-term holds just to see if anything pans out where you can make some money down the road. All right, now, as we always do, most LCSs give some sort of a discount if you're a customer. And as I stated at the beginning of the video, I use Midtown Comics just because it's easy to access that information. They do 10% off. So if you did 10% off of all the books that we just listed, you would have enough money to buy one more book. And if I was going to buy that book, it would be Star Wars The High Republic #10. And you have a possible first appearance of Lorna D. Now, you want to make sure that first appearance is there before you pull the trigger on this one, because I couldn't verify that there was an actual first appearance, but just a possible first appearance. The retail book or retail price on that is $3.99. The discount, it's $3.59. You add that to the other books with their discount, you've spent $23.34. So you end up with 6 books. All right, now I do want to throw a couple of other titles in here as well that do have some potential. And a lot of this is depending on your preference, right? Like, I'm trying to do this based on what I think, almost like speccing, what I think down the road. If I only had $25, how do I make the hobby work for me? I'm going to try to pick the books that I think long term I might be able to sell and make some money on to pick up the books that I truly want as far as grails are concerned. So I want to list a couple of other books just for preference and maybe something that you might want to slide in for one of these titles that I've mentioned. And that first book is Ant #1. That's from Image Comics. And this is the reintroduction and new origin of Ant. Eric Larson actually purchased the rights to Ant, and that makes me believe he purchased the rights. This is a character that he's been involved with before, that he may have some other plans with it as far as TV. Netflix movie, something, animated series. It could be anything. And so I would say this will have a pretty good print run, so it might not be like uber valuable, but it could be a book that you could grab and you can pick that up retail for $3.99. And then finally, another book that I really struggled with not putting on my list, I guess really because I'm a DC homer, but that's Catwoman Lonely City #1. And it has a retail price of $6.99, so it was kind of hard to fit in there. And I think the Gunslinger Spawn, was in a similar price range. I think probably has a little more chance to be valuable. But I do want to throw this one on the list just so that you know it's out there and available and it's something to think about. And as I said, Catwoman Lonely City #1, you get the first mention of Orpheus. You also get the first team appearance of Bat Cops. And the synopsis is, a decade after the massacre known as Fool's Night that took the lives of Batman, Joker, Nightwing, and Commissioner Gordon, Selina Kyle investigates the secrets of the Batcave to discover the identity of Orpheus. This is a 4-issue limited series, and it will be in the Prestige Plus format. Now, the story is kind of set around like Gotham is no longer like this dangerous place to live, right? And Selina Kyle, really, of all the main players in Gotham, is the only one left. And this is another book that I could see, if well received, could end up being a show. Again, HBO show with Catwoman, and this could be a good line to go down. You could see an animated series. You could see anything. So this is another one of those books that I think, if people like it, could end up being something down the road. Now, like I said, we're trying to stay on that $25 budget, and so I had to choose between really Gunslinger Spawn and this one to make sure I stayed in my budget. And I decided to keep Gunslinger Spawn in the list and mention this one as almost like an honorable mention type book, because I think it could be valuable. So if you would rather have this book than one of these others, then you can obviously slide it in and make that budget work for you. All right, guys, that's the list this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helps you somewhat if you are on a budget, maybe looking at some books to hang on to or to pick up and hang on to, so that down the road there may be some value there. Some of the fun obviously is reading it, but some of the fun is trying to guess at what will happen down the road, what books will become valuable. And so that's what I try to do here. Like I said, hope it helps you out in some way. Let me know down in the comments below if you dig the video. If you dig these books, are there other books that you really think, long-term could have some value? All right, guys, that's it. I appreciate you coming over and spending a little bit of time with me today on the channel. If you haven't subbed up, go ahead and do that. Turn on that notification bell so that you know when I put out new content. Hope you have a great new comic book day. As I always end these, until next time.